Welcome to BrickFix.
Welcome. What are we doing today?
Subscribe, all that. We really appreciate it. He's going to break some stuff. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah.
Like we're always talking about LEGO D&D. Like even when it's not about LEGO D&D.
I mean, we like Lego. Welcome to BrickFix.
Welcome. What are we doing today?
I thought we'd talk about some Lego D&D.
LEGO D&D?
Yeah.
Really? Again?
Yeah.
Like we're always talking about LEGO D&D. Like even when it's not about LEGO D&D.
I mean, we like Lego D&D.
We're not talking about LEGO D&D today.
We're not?
No. Today we're talking about Pokemon.
Pokemon? What kind of Pokemon?
These kind of Pokemon.
Old school Pokemon?
Pokemon I found from the depths of my youth.
From your attic. You found them in your attic.
Yes, found them in my attic. So we'll see how good of condition these are in.
So today what we're actually going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about Pokemon cards. I know that's a little different for the channel, but Gerald found his old Pokemon cards in the attic, and we thought that some of you might actually really enjoy the story that goes along with this and kind of enjoy taking the ride with us, shall we say. So tell them your story.
So, well, I was a big Pokemon collector early on, like many people from our generation during that time, right? Pokemon was kind of a big thing. And, there was the show, the game, got into it on Game Boy. And then
back in the 90s.
Yeah. Pokemon themed birthday parties all the time.
Yeah.
Trading cards with friends and strangers. So there's some trades that had happened to make what I have here. I had it apparently fairly organized to some degree because we'll see various levels of quality of the cards. Nothing too far beyond the first initial run of Pokemon releases.
Yeah, so you have base set based on what we were looking at. You have base set in here, you have some Rocket, and you have some Fossil, and I think you might even have some base set too. You do have some really cool promos in there from the original Pokemon movies and other things like that. So, I mean, it's all really cool stuff that you found.
And we've already sleeved some of these, the ones that we thought we want to get graded. So here's, for example, the Ancient Mew from the movie promotion when you went to see the first Pokemon movie.
Right.
So we're going to submit these cards off to grade, and we'll go through them a little bit more in depth. But basically, we got a bunch of little cards here to take a look at and see what maybe else we should get graded.
Yeah. So the first run, we're taking 15 cards?
Yeah, about 15.
So we're taking 15 cards over to the grader just to see what happened, right? What would a card that you got back in the 90s and then stored in your attic for 30 years, 20 years, something like that?
Probably about 20 years.
And then found.
Maybe 30. Yeah,
what grade would they get, right? Are they even worth getting graded? Or should we just put them in a nice holder sort of thing? Or should we will they come out something like this? Which this is a graded card, Lorecona. And this is actually something that I'm getting into collecting because I got the Pokemon bug back a little bit, essentially. And so my whole entire goal here, or I think what we're going to do is, while the focus of the channel is still LEGO, I think that you will see us every once in a while go off and talk about some other things that we have interesting. So in this case, some Pokemon, some Lorecona, trading cards, other things like that, other things that we have interest in.
Yeah, so we got a few other interests. You might hear us talk about pinball every now and then.
Popcorn.
Maybe, like we had that loop in with the popcorn truck getting picked for the Bricklink. But yeah, we have a few other interests, and Pokemon's some of that. It's more of a rekindling here. I don't know that I'm going to get too heavy beyond just what we have, but we're happy to talk about what we found and how this journey goes.
So this is binder 1 of 2.
1 of 2. This is the primary binder. The 2 is dupes. So this is all one of each type that I had in here. So this is where it starts
Or
with
the
like the base
specials,
sets. Yeah.
right?
Well, and so you'll see I have 2 Mr. Mimes. This is a non-holographic versus the holographic. So
you
if I
don't-
got 2, then I did 2.
You don't have you don't have a holographic in the second binder.
No, well, there might be a holographic or 2 in there, but they're not related. If there are, then it has some. It was organized differently. I'll have to check. I don't think there's any holographics though. So these were all originally organized by type. So I think that one, yeah, should be. This is where Gengar was previously in the binder. But we've already pulled the holographic Gengar, and I didn't have I don't believe a non-holographic. So
Right, and we wanted to go ahead and protect some of the cards that we were kind of worried about, shall we say. So one of the main goals of why we already took these out and you didn't see them just straight in the binder was because we were a little worried about what was going on with them. So we're going to drop them off tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
And then, so what you'll see, this will be kind of a 3-part series. You'll see part 1 of this series being just this, right? What we found, going through it a little bit. Part 2 is going to be us actually revealing what the grades are that come back. Or actually, part 2 is going to be us guessing the grades and revealing the grades that come back.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so that's really 2-part sort of thing.
And for example, this card right here, my Machamp, is a little bit beat up. And this is one that I used heavily. It was probably my first holographic, if I remember correctly.
It came in the deck box.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So it was one of those that everyone got because it came in the deck box, and everyone got the same first edition in their deck box way back when.
Yeah. And so you can see, I'll take it out of this a little bit here, but maybe you can see a little bit better without the glare on that it's got this huge crease on the back. It's just worn right in there. And then every single edge is frayed on this, the back of the card. So it was used quite a bit.
That one's not going to rate very well.
But we have some that look to be in nice condition, such as this beautiful Ninetales, the Ninetales shadowless holographic. So I'm very excited to see what this might come back as.
Yeah. So each one of these, and we can throw up the stats of each one, but let's move the binder out and just look at the 15 cards for a second, shall we?
Okay. So with the 15 here, here's our picks.
So basically, the first one,
go with Blastoise.
Blastoise. So it looks like it's in pretty good condition. All of these we've taken out and we've looked at before, and looking at it at the back, there is a little bit going on right here, just a little bit right there, and also there is a little bit going on in the hollow. So just a couple minor, scuff marks going on in there. But overall, the card's in really good condition. The thing that might detract from it a lot is there's actually a minor scratch in the top left corner right there, which I don't even know if the camera will pick up, even if I do that.
Probably not with the lighting and the glare here.
So yeah, we'll take a photo of that and throw that up there for you guys. But long story short, that right there is the one big detractor for it. The next one,
Alakazam. Alakazam is one of those early ones that I think I got as well. This one, I think, looking at it here, it's got maybe a little bit of markings on the hollow, some little scratchy kind of stuff, but not too terribly bad. The overall quality looks pretty decent.
Yeah. I think that this one will come back pretty good. This one I actually thought was going to be your highest rated. The only flaws that I saw on this one actually were at the top edge, a couple of wear marks from when it was getting put into and out of the sleeve sort of thing.
Then we've got a Charizard. This was a coveted one, and this I believe was one that I did a trade for to
Yeah.
get.
This one is not in the greatest condition, but I think that it will hopefully grade well. There is a small flaw with the hollow area right above the dragon wing right there. We'll get a better photo of that and show that to you guys. And then on the reverse, there is some wear along the edge on the bottom.
And another popular one is the Snorlax. Uh, this one is it looked good initially, but then I think we looked at it a little bit further and thought maybe it's a bit more scruffed up on the hollow than it would be desirable for it to get a high grade.
Yeah, it has a lot of scratching going on the hollow, and then a little bit going on the edging on the back right here and right here.
The next two I would talk about here is Kabutops, and we'll do these two because there's two different ones. There's a Japanese one that I had, and then this was just also a personal favorite for Pokemon of the fossil choices. So this one I'm not necessarily expecting them to be anything huge. I just want these for me, kind of thing, to be graded. And no,
So both these I thought were very good cards. I thought that the this one oop, out of the two would end up rating better than the Japanese version. Just overall of what I saw on it. The bottom left on the backside again showing a little bit of wear, but everything on the front actually on this card is in very good condition. So I'll be excited to see what this one brings back.
I think next we should talk about the classic mascot
The OG,
Pikachu.
the OG
And this
Pikachu.
isn't just any Pikachu. This is a Red Cheek Pikachu. Oh, Pikachu.
So this Pikachu, I think, is in a great condition overall. You don't have any of the scratching going on with the hollow and what have you. So I think that this one's actually going to rate very well. I think that most of your cards you actually just put basically straight into the binder.
I think after initially playing with the base deck and whatnot, I kind of got just more into the collecting side. And these were sleeved, a lot of these,
Yeah,
in the binder itself. They just weren't put in a nice
card
protected
saver.
card saver like this. So now we'll talk about the Ninetales here. I think this one, I have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
And this is a personal.
So the front of this card is, I would say, almost immaculate. I think that it's going to be one of the best cards that you have. Again, your biggest flaw is right here on the back. You have a little bit of card wear right there. How much that's going to take you down? It'll probably take you down a point or two, but we'll see. I still got some hopes for you.
All right. Dealer's choice.
So
Venusaur.
Venusaur. Go ahead.
So the Venusaur, this was one that I got naturally. I remember that. It was a nice pull kind of thing from a deck. And it was probably, I think it was my first. I think I got that
From a deck
before
or
the
a booster?
sorry, from a pack, whatever you,
Yeah.
booster pack.
Yeah.
And I think this is my first complete
Where you
evolution
completed,
where like I had the of one with a hollow like that. So I had the Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur.
the hollow on this one looks very good. There's a little bit going on with it, but not a lot. I think it'll rate well.
And then we got the Gengar we were talking about a little bit, which is also another personal favorite. I really, although prefer Haunter over Gengar as the evolutionary form, but you know, this is the one that you had at the time that's holographic, so that was a bit coveted.
It's a good looking card. I actually really like it. Fossil card. I think it's going to do well. It's one of your better ones. Again, why we pulled it. We pulled looking through what we considered his top cards within his binder, the top 15 and the 15 best looking cards as well. So we'll see what those do before we do anything else with any of the others.
And this is one of your picks, which was a Jolteon.
Yes.
And you thought this one looked like it would do pretty well.
Yeah, I think that
As
this one is maybe one of the better cards that you had in there. I think that you probably forgot that you even owned it,
well, I had one
and
of each.
left it in a dark corner and never touched it or
I, I,
played with
I
it.
completed the Eevee evolutions at the time, which was only
There
3,
was only 3.
so a lot easier to complete
Yeah,
than before. This one I think is a cool one. Obviously, I like a Lugia, Japanese Lugia, and it's holographic. It looked like pretty good condition.
yeah, very good condition. Again, with a lot of your cards, they really just were kind of just left there.
Yep. And then this is another one that was your pick, which is Slowbro, Team Rock, Dark Slowbro, um, Team Rocket in the background there, or a Rocket Grunt, whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool one. It's first edition Team Rocket. I think I think it'll do well. I'm excited for this one.
And then the last two, I think, have to go together since they're both pretty big. The Ancient Mew we talked about, and then another Charizard, Japanese one. Um, the thing about the Japanese ones at the time, when I was collecting cards, were these cards that were the Japanese versions were my first look at some of the newer Pokemon that hadn't come out, that weren't released in the game. So it had things with the other starters in it. And so I was really into trying to get those so that I could have it was like ancient information, getting and it was like, is this real? Are these what these Pokemon are going to be? Is this what's going? I don't know. I don't know anything about these.
Yeah,
So
both these are in great condition. The Ancient Mew is in much better condition than most of the other cards. This card is in great condition except for some top wear. Again, with pulling it in and out of card sleeves and whatnot, which is probably a very common problem with cards from way back in the day.
so back to the binder. Here is probably the next runner-ups that I'd want to do here is this Eevee. I'd want to get
Oh
that
yeah,
one
the
done in the
promo
future.
Eevee.
The
Yeah,
promo Eevee
I do the
holographic, the
pre-release.
pre-release Dark Gyarados. So both those
The Mew would always
are
be
good.
fun.
The Mew, it's not holographic. I'd want to do both these Mew and Mewtwo. Obviously, those look good, as something to do. I don't know if there was anything else in this one that I would probably do anytime soon. It just depends on how well we do on it. And I think
Yeah,
everything else I'd kind of wait on there.
you had some. So you
None of
did
those are
have.
special. Those were loose.
The other thing was that he did actually have a lot of loose Pokemon cards that were just floating around in there.
Yeah.
So
And a lot in the other binder that were loose. So they've now been sleeved and put in card savers. So here's what I was talking about with the Japanese cards. So like these Pokemon, that was all like the first appearances for me as a child, seeing a lot of these other Pokemon along with the familiar faces. So this was again like me trying to get that lowdown of information back when the internet wasn't so easily accessible. As a child, you don't have as much, and you kind of pick up here and there. Also, in the back in the day, watching anime, it was the same thing. The only way I'd find out more about anime is going to an anime shop, buying stuff, and seeing what that DVD and season was like. Right, that's how you kind of learned about it, because you didn't have streaming, you didn't have all those
yeah,
resources.
you Netflix was they sent you DVDs back in the day.
Yeah. And then coming up right here, this was a big change for at the time, because previously there were no dark types. And so this was like, wait, what's this? This is why this is the only one in the category. It was the only dark type that I got. It was a new symbol. I didn't know what it meant. I was like, what? And then you didn't have fairy at this point either. So that wasn't introduced. So
Yeah,
you had kind of like, it was a big question kind of thing.
there was a lot in there, and so things were actually in different categories, and they ended up being in later. So you'd have things in like a normal category that ended up being fairy, right? And so
Hmm.
it's all interesting how it all evolved, right?
Uh-huh. How
Um,
Pokemon evolved the
Pokemon
card game.
evolutions, yeah.
Right. And then
Uh, but yeah, I if y'all are interested in watching more videos like this, let us know.
yeah, definitely
Join
put a
in.
like.
Yeah, put a like. Let us know what you'd be interested of back in the days of things that you want us to maybe talk about if we have an interest in it. But this is what I'm talking about right here. Just in the side of the binder, there's just a ton of Pokemon cards that were
Yeah,
just loose,
they were
just shaking around for 30 years, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then just right in the pockets. So one thing I want to point out here, I don't know how good this is. So these were where all the energy were and all the duplicates, right? So it's not like anything super special, potentially, but you know, the very back has a little interesting card set that I want to get to show. And I don't know anything about it. Didn't look into whether this has any kind of value, but it
Oh
does a
yeah,
cool thing at the end. So you have these the 9 cards, right?
right
That
on
are
the
all
front.
these individual things. You got Team Rocket. It's a lot of Team Rocket actually here, and it's a lot of the side characters from the animated series. And when you uh obviously collect them all,
When you put them all
classic
together.
Pokemon, it makes this mural on the back, right, of all of it. So that was something that was cool to see and remember having that. So this is probably something that I'll get sleeved after this in card protectors and savers, and maybe these might also get submitted for grading. I don't know where
Yeah,
it sits, but
that'd
I'd
be
like
cool.
to protect those.
A little bit more research needs to be
Yeah.
done on it, sort of thing. But yeah, this is all really like I'm really happy that you found this. I'm really happy that we were able to talk about this. Thank you for joining us. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that. We really appreciate it. He's going to break some stuff. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And let us fix your bricks.
Yeah, let us fix your bricks.